They do not know the effects of load shedding on the country. And sometimes I honestly feel like it's unfair for us as the public to expect these people to understand what we are feeling like on the country. These people are living in the mansions. They are living in the gated communities. They have alternatives at their homes. And these alternatives South Africans are paying for.
The 360 experience with Thomas M.
Man, you know, at this point, South Africans have themselves to blame for having ANC in government. I honestly think that at this point, it's South Africans' fault. You know, we are going into the elections, and the most scary thing is that the ANC is going to win the elections again. Man, I think that is one thing that actually keeps me up at night, thinking about the fact that we still going to have these people running the government after 2024 election. And it seems like there is nothing that people can do on the ground. There is nothing that I can do to change people's minds. There is nothing that you can do watching this platform. There is nothing that you can do to change people's minds. I think this is the reason why it is so easy for these ANC guys to go around and lying to the people and telling people lies and pretending like things are working in South Africa, whereas nothing is working. You see the video that I'm about to play you today. It's one of those videos that actually makes me mad. It makes me mad because right now the Minister of Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, goes around and telling people that, guys, by the end of 2024, we will no longer have load shedding. We will no longer have load shedding. I guess, man, this is the same thing that Fikile Mbalula said last year. Guys, you remember when Fikile Mbalula went on national television and said that by the end of 2023, there will be no load shedding? January 2024, Fikile Mbalula was questioned about that statement of his, and he told the reporters that I do not work at Eskom. Stop asking me nonsense because I do not work at Eskom. But it looks like that lie from the African National Congress of going around and telling people that, guys, by the end of this year, we will no longer have load shedding. That lies still works for them. It still works for them. For the people that have actually forgot what Fikile Mbalula said last year, guys, this is what Fikile Mbalula said last year about load shedding.
Will be over by the end of this year. That is, after all, yet another promise made to South Africans.
Now, this time it was made by ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula. He was speaking to JJ Tabane on Power to Truth, saying that government is on top of the power crisis.
And according to Mbalula, blackouts will be a thing of the past by the end of December.
I know, from where I'm seated, from the work that has been done by government and ministers and so on, the load shedding before the end of the year should have been something of the past.
Serious?
Yes.
Load shedding by the end of this year will be something of the past.
By end of this year, if all...
It sounds familiar because it's what the two presidents said.
That's why I don't want to say to you that I said this and it did not happen. But I can assure you that load shedding will be reversed, and it will be dealt with decisively.
So, you know, every time when I hear these people say these things, to me, it tells me that because these people are not affected by load shedding, they don't know the seriousness of this whole thing. To them, this is nothing but a talking point. It is nothing but a talking point. They are simply going out on mainstream media. They are simply going out to conferences and saying these things because they do not know how load shedding actually affects people on the ground. They don't know that by lying to the people and telling them that load shedding will be the thing of the past, they don't know what actually it does to the people on the ground. This is the reason why these people, they go around and lying to South Africans and telling them that they will no longer have load shedding by the end of this year. It is 2023. It is 2023. If Fikile Mbalula and President Ramaphosa were out and telling people that by the end of 2023 we will no longer have load shedding, why are they going around again in 2024 and saying that by the end of 2024 we will no longer have load shedding? It tells you that these people are simply playing to South Africans. They are simply lying to South Africans and stringing them along. By the 2025, the ANC will be out again telling South Africans that, guys, by the end of 2025 we will no longer have load shedding. Because if these people were actually affected by load shedding, if these people did not have the alternative means of getting power, these people would actually do something about load shedding. But because these people have alternatives, and these alternatives South Africans are paying for. You know, right now when the lights go off at your home, you're going to have to wait for load shedding. You're going to have to wait for ESCOM to bring back the lights. But this is not the case with these people. And the worst part is that you are paying for everything. You are paying for Ronald Lamula to have alternative at his home. You are paying for Fikile Mbalula to have alternative at his home. This is the reason why they don't take load shedding serious. They don't take load shedding serious. Because right now, guys, if these people, man, actually felt what load shedding does to the people on the ground, I feel like at this point, man, they are simply showing South Africans that, guys, we don't know what load shedding does to the people on the ground. You remember that minister of the African National Congress, she went to parliament and she said that load shedding, it is not the end of the world. I mean, like, this is how these people feel. This is how these people feel. And the fact that the South Africans are still going to vote for these people in these elections, man, this is one thing that actually keeps me up at night. This is one thing that actually keeps me up at night. Like, just imagine public representatives that are having alternatives at their homes. These people are not being affected by load shedding, none whatsoever, man. I remember Fikile Mbalula coming out and saying that load shedding affects me. Even me, it affects me because one day my son was playing video games and the lights went off, and my son was so sad because we didn't have the lights at home. This is like, can you imagine, man, Fikile Mbalula talking about his son not being able to play video games, whereas people are being slaughtered on the streets because it is dark. People are losing their appliances on the streets because it is dark. I bet right now, if Fikile Mbalula can lose his microwave, he can replace it today. If he loses his stove, he can replace it today. But what do you think about the people on the ground? Do you think the people on the ground, if they lose a microwave because of load shedding, do you think those people, they can replace it today? No, they cannot. No, they cannot. And I get so mad, man. I honestly get so mad when these people keep lying about this whole thing of load shedding, because I live in the townships. I know how load shedding actually affects people on the ground. And for these people to go around and lying to South Africans and stringing them along and thinking that South Africans are fools. They've told you everything that you needed to know, man. You see that lady in parliament who went out and said that load shedding, it is not the end of the world. That lady was actually telling us what African National Congress thinks about South Africans. She was telling us that, guys, this thing, it doesn't affect us. We know that you are paying for everything, but it doesn't affect us. This is why we can come here and tell you that it is not the end of the world. I mean, like right now in South Africa, young people, they do not have jobs. And young people are starting up their own businesses. But 60% of young people that are starting up their own businesses, their businesses are failing. Why? Because there's no load shedding, there's no electricity in the country. These are the effects that people are suffering under load shedding. And these people, man, have never addressed those issues. I have never heard these people coming out and saying that, guys, we know because of load shedding you are losing your appliances. We know that because of load shedding criminals are attacking you on the streets. We know that because of load shedding you cannot even get your businesses going. We know because of load shedding you are facing a lot of problems on the ground. These people have actually never come out and told the South Africans that, guys, we apologize for you facing so many problems because of our incompetence. They have never come out and said that. If anything, they go around and pretending like load shedding, it is not such a big deal. It is not such a big deal, man. I can just imagine sitting here. If I was a member of the African National Congress, man, I would be ashamed going around and telling people that load shedding will be thing of the past. I would be ashamed to even go out and say that, because I know that it is a lie. First of all, I know that it is a lie. And second of all, you know very well that you are not going to do anything about this huge issue that is affecting people so bad on the ground. I mean, like me talking about appliances, talking about small business, like these are just issues like to begin with. But if you have to come on the ground and actually understand how load shedding actually affects people on the ground, man. Man, I feel like they do not live in the same reality as us. They do not live in the same reality as us. And sometimes I feel like it's unfair for us to expect these people to actually take the problems that we are facing seriously, whereas they do not even know how it feels. They don't know how it feels. They don't know how it feels. They don't know how it feels to be on the ground, man, to be affected by load shedding. They don't know how it feels for young people to start their own businesses, to get in debt, starting their own businesses, and their businesses failing. And now young people, most of them, a lot of young people are drowning in debt today because their businesses didn't kick off. They do not know the effects of load shedding on the ground. And sometimes I honestly feel like it's unfair for us as the public to expect these people to understand what we are feeling like on the ground. These people are living in the mansions. They are living in the gated communities. They have alternatives at their homes. And these alternatives, South Africans are paying for. But why is it so hard for them to make sure that South Africans have the alternatives? Just like they do. Just like they do. They do not understand how it's like on the ground. They do not. And the fact that South Africans are still willing to vote for these people, man. The fact that South Africans are still willing to vote for these people, man. When will it be enough? When will it be enough, man? Will South Africans ever get to the point of saying, guys, it is fine, like, let's let them go. Let's let them go. Because if you're going to come out and say that load shedding will be the thing of the past by the end of this year, whereas load shedding started under your administration, you inherited a well-running company, but you cannot, you didn't even manage it. It's like them coming out and telling you that we will no longer have potholes by the end of this year. These people, they inherited these things that were working properly. They inherited Transnet that was working properly. They inherited Eskom that was working properly. They inherited Denel. They inherited all sorts of state-owned entities. And you look at all those state-owned entities, like, can we even point at one state-owned entity that is working well today under these people? The fact that these people have broken down every single state-owned entities, it should tell us something as South Africans. But for some reason, it looks like we as South Africans, we are still fine with the fact that these people are breaking down everything. And we're still willing to vote for these people, the same people that have broken down everything. Guys, you remember that conversation that I had with a citizen concerned a couple of weeks ago? I said that it is so insane, the fact that the South Africans think that the same people that have broken down the country can now turn around and fix the country. The same people that have divided the people on the ground are the same people that can come around and now unify the people. It is so insane for us to think that by continuously voting for these people, somehow things are going to work. What do we need more as South Africans? What do we need? What do we need? Like, what do these people actually need to do for us to say that, guys, it is okay. It is okay. You have failed the South Africans. You have failed the people on the ground.
By the end of this year, there will be no load shedding. And this is not propaganda.
Okay, so
yeah,
Minister,
that is 2014,
Minister Lamola,
that is
we have
2024.
heard so many promises.
And that is not propaganda, Stephen, because as I have said,
Minister,
this
has
been engaged with the business, and we are...
And you can hear that Ronald Lamola is simply bulldozing this woman. Like, he's bulldozing her. He doesn't want her to get a word in. I'm simply going to bulldoze you and tell you that by the end of the year, we will no longer have load shedding. He is bulldozing her. He doesn't want her to get a word in.
By the end of this year, there will be no load shedding. And this is not propaganda.
Okay, so
yeah,
Minister,
that is 2014,
Minister Lamola,
that is
we have
2024.
heard so many promises.
And that is not propaganda, Stephen, because as I have said,
Minister,
this has been engaged with the business, and we are in agreement that there has been a reduction.
Minister, we've heard a lot of promises from the ANC before about load shedding, specifically timelines that have not really translated in the last couple of years. What is different now?
The difference is that there is a commitment now. We're working clearly with government. And
I mean, like, where was the commitment before? There is a commitment now because we are in the election year. They are telling us that there is a commitment now. But where was the commitment when the load shedding started? Where was the commitment to actually fix this thing that is destroying people's lives? Where was the commitment? For you to come out and say that there is a commitment now. Where was the commitment all along? Where was the commitment? To say that this year we are going to do things a bit different. Why didn't they do things different when load shedding started? Right now, load shedding is worse. Right now, load shedding is worse. And anyone who actually thinks that load shedding, ANC can actually fix Eskom, clearly they do not know what they are talking about. Because, guys, if you have realized, all of these people that are talking about load shedding and how load shedding is going to be the thing of the past, these people are not engineers. These people are nothing but comrades. They are not engineers. They do not know what they are talking about. I swear right now, if someone can actually get in deep and actually inquire Ronald Lamula about load shedding, about electricity, he doesn't know anything about that. He simply knows that I have a talking point. I really have to get it past. That's what he knows. Load shedding, like the fact that we think that the comrades can fix load shedding, the same comrades that have bought us load shedding, for us to think that the same people can now turn around and fix ESCOM, man. It really tells us what South Africans are like, man. You know, I hate, like, because sometimes I feel like I'm insulting South Africans when I say, guys, you keep voting for the same people that have destroyed your life. What do you expect? I don't want to say that South Africans are naive. I don't want to say that South Africans are stupid. I don't want to say that South Africans are idiots. But if you're going to keep voting for the same people that are destroying your life, what does it say about you? What does it say about you? You know, going into this election, I remember someone saying that, Thomas, which political party are you going to vote for? Which political party are you going to vote for, man? You know, when it comes to me and this whole thing of voting, I would rather vote for a political party that I know that after the elections, I will not regret my vote. I will not regret voting for that political party. If I can go out today and decide to vote for Musimai, man, even if Musimai does not go to parliament, I will not regret voting for Musimai because Musimai, because of the type of person he is, because of the ideas that he's driving, I will not be ashamed to vote for some, like for some of the political parties that we have in South Africa today. And I think South Africans should really start looking at voting like that, that if I'm going to vote for this political party, tomorrow I need to make sure that I will not be on the streets and protesting because I'm not happy about my vote. Because this is the thing that always happens in South Africa. It always happens in South Africa that people will go out and vote for the African National Congress, but tomorrow the same people will be on the street protesting that we don't have service delivery, protesting that our children are not working, protesting that we have criminality that is ravaging the streets, but the same people will go out and vote for the ANC. I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. This is insanity what is happening in South Africa, man. It's insanity. The fact that people continue to vote for the ANC, knowing very well that tomorrow they will be on the streets protesting. Tomorrow they will be on the streets protesting. Just like they were on the street last week protesting under the ANC government. But for some reason, they think that, man, we simply have to vote for the ANC and save the ANC because the ANC has delivered us from apartheid. So we're going to keep voting for these people. We don't care how incompetent these people are. We don't care how incompetent these people are. We're simply going to continue voting for them. I don't want to call South Africans with names, man. I honestly don't want to call South Africans with names. But at this point, man, I'm honestly losing my patience with South Africans. I'm honestly losing my patience with South Africans.
By the end of this year, there will be no load shedding. And this is not propaganda.
Okay, so
yeah,
Minister,
that is 2014,
Minister Lamula,
that is
we have
2024.
heard so many promises.
And that is not propaganda, Stephen, because as I have said,
Minister,
this has been engaged with the business and we are in agreement that there has been a reduction.
Minister, we've heard a lot of promises from the ANC before about load shedding, specifically timelines that have not really translated in the last couple of years. What is different now?
The difference is that there is a commitment now. We're working clearly with government and there is a skill that has been put together in our compact that we're working on with business.
I mean, like, that is an insult to South Africans to say that right now there's a commitment, to say that right now, like, there's a skill that we are working with. The fact that you didn't put all of these things in place before, the fact that you allowed load shedding to destroy the country, the fact that you allowed load shedding to kick out businesses, for people to lose their jobs. I mean, I can go on the whole day talking about load shedding and the effect that it's having on the people on the ground. If you're going to say that we have commitments right now, we are putting in proper skills right now, why didn't you do that when load shedding started?
Business and all civil society. And that can be proven is there, is not propaganda. It is also proven through the processes that have been undertaken and the states of the level of load shedding, including the input that is also coming through the solar-powered system through private use, and also the regulations through the electricity regulations system that has enabled the private sector also to plug into the grid. By the end of this year, there will be no load shedding.
That's why, guys, I'm saying that, guys, at this point, we have ourselves to blame. We have ourselves to blame. And you know, for rational South Africans, man, it is so frustrating living in South Africa. If you are a rational person in this country, I know how frustrating it is for you to live in South Africa, because you can see a train wreck coming. You can see that this train is coming, and this train is going to hit South Africa so hard, but there is nothing that you can do to stop it. There is nothing that you can do to stop it, because the people of this country, they are behind this train, pushing it to destroy the country. No matter how, like, you can shout all you want, you can scream all you want, but this train wreck is going to, it's going to happen in South Africa. And for rational people, man, I understand how frustrating it is. I understand how frustrating it is, man. You know, the other day I was watching some video on YouTube, and these people were talking about the fact that most of the people in this country that are talking about the African National Congress and the fact that people still want to vote for the African National Congress, they do not understand what the ANC has done to the people. They do not understand the struggle that South Africa was in, and the fact that people are so attached to the African National Congress. But for me to counter that, I'm going to say, man, the people on the ground can now feel the consequences of voting for the African National Congress. When people were living under Thabo Mbeki, things were working much better. I mean, people had jobs. People were like, of course, Thabo Mbeki had his own mistakes, but at least things were a bit better. But ever since Jacob Zuma came into the play, and left everything to Ramaphosa, people can feel the decline. Even the people on the ground can feel the decline. So if these people on the ground can feel the decline, why do they keep voting for the ANC? Why do they keep voting for the ANC? So guys, do you think that by the end of 2024, load shedding will be the thing of the past? Do you think that Ronald Lamola is telling the truth that by the end of 2024, load shedding will be the thing of the past? Guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabao, so I will see you next time. Bye-bye.